Zacks Rank Buys, stocks with a short-term buy or strong buy recommendation. Now, here are more Zacks Rank Buys. Each stock within the Zacks Rank Buys universe is chosen based on how well it matches criteria comparing the four main investing styles: aggressive growth, growth in income, momentum, and value. And this time around, we get to talk about some value stocks with Tracy Reinick. She is our value stock analyst at Zacks.com. And you have quite an assortment here, industry-wise.
Yes.
That you've brought with you to this conversation. Starting with Encore Acquisition. This is something that you're currently writing about, and their revenues have soared in the second quarter.
Yeah, they are a exploration company, but onshore. So they are in the Rocky Mountains, the Permian Basin, which in the lingo means they're in Texas, basically.
Okay.
They're doing a lot of the shale drilling up in the Dakotas, which is the really hot area right now, and they're seeing a lot of big finds up there. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, the revenues soared in the second quarter, but a lot of that did come off of the high, crude and natural gas prices. But even though those prices have come down, their estimates are still trending a little bit higher, actually. For the third quarter, analysts have consensus estimates at about $1.35 a share, and it was at $1.04 a share only 90 days ago. So the analysts are still, pretty positive on this company because they're increasing production, and yes, the prices come down, but they didn't have, they kind of have a hedging system, and they didn't see super great gains in the second quarter, actually. Mm-hmm. I mean, they did, but they didn't see what some of the other non-hedged companies saw.
So double-digit versus triple-digit for some of the other companies?
Right. So they should still be pretty consistent in this next quarter, despite the prices coming down.
All right, Encore Acquisition, EAC, the ticker symbol for that stock. And then on September the 5th, you wrote about Radio Shack, bucking the challenging retail environment. How?
Yeah, they're an interesting play right now because you'd think the retailers are doing bad and they're in kind of the technology video area that might not be holding on right now, but they are. They saw a big increase in comparable same-store sales were up nearly 7%. They saw an increase actually in the analog to digital, those converter boxes, or the digital to analog.
For the TV signal?
Yeah, so people are rushing out to buy those before the deadline next February. They also saw an increase in GPS devices, and video gaming still continues to be hot, so they're seeing an increase in that. And maybe just their locations right now. They're not, they're in like neighborhood stores, and they've just been a really good kind of turnaround story over the last couple of years. And they've been posting great return on equity the last couple years, and then they beat estimates 4 straight quarters. So
one thing I've noticed from having gone into their stores is that they have pared back inventory in the store.
Right.
Pretty well.
Yeah. It used to be, any of us who've gone into it over the years, there was stuff like climbing the walls and everything, and yes, a lot of that has been pared back, and I think that's helped them tremendously.
Okay. And the ticker symbol for Radio Shack is?
RSH.
All righty. And then on the 4th of September, you wrote about United Stationers controlling their costs in a tough economic environment. Another sample of a different segment of the retail sector.
Yes, they do a lot of, kind of what their name implies, they do a lot of products for business. They distribute out products for business. One of their big areas is like janitorial items. They saw a big increase in that in the last quarter, about 14% gain in sales in janitorial items. They also sell things like office furniture, which is the one sector that's not doing well for them right now. Mm-hmm. They did not warn, but they did caution on the second half of the year because they are seeing cost inflation on a lot of their items, which you can imagine the paper products and cleaners and all that stuff are seeing their prices increase. So, but their outlook is still very positive because they're able to cut their costs in other areas, and they're doing quite well right now. Yeah,
it's kind of weird when you hear of a stationery store retail outlet selling janitorial supplies and coffee and everything else that they sell.
Yeah, I think they probably originally started out as the more narrow sector of just like the basic business attributes you would have, and then have spread out from there. So yeah, they sell many thousands of products actually.
And on September the 3rd, you wrote about EuroSeas Limited. What does this company do, and where's the value here?
They are a dry bulk shipper, and I know I've talked a lot about various shippers over the time. They're one of the smaller shippers. They have 16 vessels worldwide. They ship worldwide. They're cheap right now. They're trading at under 8 times earnings, and they're one of the ones that pays a large dividend, so they're paying out over 11% right now. Part of the issue is with the shippers, some are attached to the Baltic Dry Index, which kind of sets the rates for a lot of the shippers that ship the commodities. But EuroSeas has already locked in about 80% of its 2008 contracts, so that's pretty much guaranteed. Never say never, but pretty much. And they've locked in 34% of 2009. So you have to like where they're going for the rest of the year, even if commodities prices pull back and the Baltic Dry Index pulls back. They're already locked in about 80%.
And the ticker on this one is?
ESEA.
All right. And that ever popular, ever familiar question in these segments, do you or does anyone in your household own any of these stocks?
I do not.
All right. You know, earnings estimate revisions are the most powerful force impacting stock prices, and the Zacks rank takes advantage of changes within those estimates to help investors become more profitable. And each day on Zacks.com, don't forget, Zacks rank buy stocks for these various investment strategies are spotlighted, and you can link to them right off of our homepage. All you have to do is go to Zacks.com, and they're right there in the upper right-hand corner of that homepage. And you can learn about the entire Zacks rank buy concept by going to Zacks.com/rank. With Tracy and the Zacks rank buys for the value segment, I'm Terry Ruffalo.